Lagos State releases white paper on NSAS protest, counters report of its own panel, says only one person died at the Lekki tollgate on October 20, 2020.
Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu calls for work of peace to heal the wounds of NSAS protests, but celebrities snubbed his invitation.
And the All Progressives Congress APC faces one of its biggest tests as fleet, with 2 caretaker extraordinary convention planning committees and 2 chairmen. The newest chairman will be live with us this morning. So we'll start the show. The government addressed a press conference, and indeed called out several popular Nigerian comedians, and Fowles was there, Mr. Macaroni, popular lawyer Dele Farotimi, and others, to join in the peace walk, to heal the land, to heal the city of Lagos after all that is happened. But one particular thing that stands out from all of that from yesterday is that the state governor is actually denying its own panel that it's constituted, saying that just one person was killed, as against the 9 as earlier, reported by the panel.
So what has actually happened is what a lot of Nigerians were anticipating. I mean, no one would actually, if you remember vividly, we have always asked the question of how can you be a person of interest in your own case? So first of all, you are being accused. Of course, however, the fingers saying, he's responsible, expect no justice. So it didn't go through the up.
Yesterday, just before the white paper was released.
This month of December, I'll be leading a walk of peace to herald the healing of our land. Let me therefore use this occasion to extend an open invitation to all of our youths, members of the diplomatic corps, civil society groups, students, gentlemen of the press, media, and other stakeholders to join me. I want Folarin Falana, popularly called Fowles. I would want Debo Adebayo, Mr. Macaroni. I would want an activist lawyer, Mr. Dele Farotimi. I would want Temitope Majekodumi. I would want Mr. Shegun Awosonya. I would want Adetong, Just Detong, who draws me every day. I want the legendary son of Fela Seun Kuti. I will also want the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Akim Odumusu. I want the Commander of the RRS, CSP Yinka Egbeyemi, to join me on this historic march for Abia, Lagos.
October 20, 2020 is one that the government and residents of Lagos State cannot forget in a hurry. The reminders are still very visible across the state. NSAS protesters had a grip on the city. Apparently, hoodlums hijacked it, burning down perceived government infrastructure and those of its cronies. At the Lekki tollgate, soldiers allegedly shot at peaceful protesters who had gathered there for days. This resulted in avoidable loss of lives. This led to the setting up of a judicial panel of inquiry by Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. The panel was to investigate Army's involvement in the protest. The panel was led by a retired judge, Doris Okuobi. The report was submitted on November 15 after a year-long sitting. Apparently, the report got leaked even before Governor Sanwo-Olu could see the content.
It is, however, regrettable that the panel's work and the leakage of an unauthorized version of the report has generated tension. Sadly, a deep wound has been reopened. The heated exchanges among various shades of opinion on the report have unfortunately put us at the risk of meeting the larger picture.
Sawolo insists that the leaked version of the report is nothing but falsehood and has asked Lagosians to discard it.
To become a champion of prejudices is to own a fleeting and a false victory. It is a victory of rancor over reason, of vengeance over justice, of hunger over compassion. Today, I stand before you to declare that I reject this path, and I invite you all to do the same. The choice confronting us today is between restoring a greater harmony or doing a greater harm.
Sawolo reiterates that the government has no intention to further inflame passion on a matter that has generated intense interest and controversy nationally and internationally. He has promised that decisions and actions will be based entirely on the law, the weight of evidence, and an unblemished respect for the truth. From Lagos, Love Ikuku Oyedoku for Plus TV Africa.
All right, welcome back. That's what just happened yesterday when the state government addressed the press as regards the release of the white paper. And he called out to several celebrities, to come out and join a peace walk, and they have since snubbed, that particular invitation, with, MC Macaroni saying that he isn't coming. And of course, Fowles described the invitation as a joke.
For me, it's really bravery. Of course, Shehu Kuti has also dropped his thoughts. He said that he'd rather work a work of justice and not that he's called for. It's really, really sad. Like I mentioned earlier on, you can't be a judge in your own case and expect a different result. So there will be sentiment, and it was expected. But, usually when Nigerians actually predict what the Nigerian government or, the state government would do, we expect that they would act differently, but they always never fail, and they always act. It's really, really sad because people actually lost their lives. I mean, that report, you constituted that report, your own panel. And now you're saying that the people that you actually put together, I mean, you look at the caliber of persons in that particular panel, you are saying that all that they came out with is false. After how many, 365 days again?
Over.
And that's what the people get. But it's really, really sad. It's really disappointing. Well, how do you now call for a work of peace? How do you now say you want a just city? Let's quickly, run through the thoughts of Fowles. He says the suggestion of a work for peace sounds like a joke and a very disrespectful one at that. People were murdered in cold blood, and absolutely no iota of justice has been served. More than a year after, how can there be peace without justice? In this same speech, you said to be a smart city, we must first be a just one. Remember the young Nigerians that had their lives snatched away by weapons wielded by our own army forces. You want to sweep that under the carpet? Is that how to establish a just city? And there's also a hashtag #EndSARS. Young Nigerians still today are being constantly harassed and extorted by police officers, and you were awfully quiet about that one, or are you not aware? Hashtag #EndSARS. Really, really bad. And that's one thought for Fowles. You also have the other one, but time will not permit us to run through all of the thoughts. The truth is, you can't have peace without justice, and that's what we constantly say. If you look at the entire country, a lot of people are getting away with so much. You look at the bandits, you look at people who are committing crime and criminality, and all that this does, it emboldens the people. So what happens? Because I constantly still ask, even with the report and the fact that, yes, we congratulate the panel for doing a great job, but you still find some gray areas. I mean, the borders, where are the bodies of this person? Where they're taken to? How do the persons who have lost their loved ones, how do they reconcile? How do they find peace and solace? All of these questions are left unanswered, and now you come to say that just one person's dead. It is really, really sad, and of course another disappointment.
To us Lagosians. Also trending, making headlines around various spaces is Kaduna train fare. It has actually skyrocketed over time, and passengers are actually lamenting that they have had to pay as much as 15 to 20 glass space, all because a lot of people are moving.
So at the end of the day, you can't tell me that this is, the, what's it called again? The law of demand and supply taking place a natural, but this is total exploitation.
Yes.
Because right now you can't tell me that because bandits are actually attacking the people, and then all of a sudden, the fair
online
price
platform just shut down.
You're deciding to use, terrorists to improve the IGR. It is really, really sad. At this point in time, when you find out that there's inflation, a lot is going on. How many persons, can afford? How many persons do have money in their possession to actually go about their businesses? I mean, make purchase, because it's one thing to say you want something, it's another thing for you to back that with, the power. And that's money, of course, if you cannot afford it. So this is really, really wrong. I remember a time where we had the MD of the corporation. I had a one-on-one with him, and the question I asked was, because there was an eminent, not very prominent, but an eminent attack at that time when we boarded that train. And I raised the question of, are there provisions to ensure that, these rail tracks are protected? And the question is, yes, we do have patrol. Not, the answer wasn't quite convincing and very, very satisfactory, if you want to ask me. But however, you see, we don't pay attention to all of this thing. And there's no way we're going to take out the fact that security is still in the exclusive list. It is not my responsibility to provide security. No, and so we cannot rule that out as much as we want to do, as much as we want to act like, that's a different thing entirely. We cannot rule the fact that government's responsibility across the entire globe is ensuring that lives and properties are protected.
True.
And so this is not a time where you begin to extort the people and increase the, the fare of ticket, and saying that that's because, the online platform actually sure. I think that we can do better as a people. I'm hoping, that those who are saddled with the responsibility will just, sweep into action and do the needful. This is not a time that we should be acting in this way, because Nigerians are going through a lot right now.
No, we are. And indeed, the fact, your ticket just to be able to make your trip. Again, Barbados is also in the news, and this time around they have become, or the country that is, has become republic, as they have parted ways with the Queen of England. Mercy, it is really a very wonderful, it was a very, very wonderful ceremony yesterday. Popular artist Rihanna was there, and of course Prince Harry was also there. And right now they have their own president.
Now, very important, standout for me is the fact that colonial rule has actually ended in the country. It's a plus for women across the entire globe. And also, you might also interest you to know that, North America, but with some ancestry to Africa. So it means a lot. It means a lot to the entire world.
Yes,
and I'm saying congratulations.
As well.
Yeah, I'm saying congratulations to them and to every other person. But let's not also forget that the Queen is still actually the Queen in about 15 countries, Australia, Canada.
Most of the
and we're hoping
countries,
that, they would get some kind of liberation at the end of the day.
The good thing for me, the big one for me, is that after all of these years, indeed, that they can actually manage their own affairs, decide how they want to go as a country, what direction they want to, follow. They just have to make their own policies, and indeed, they will just be a wonderful people. We have a track on that particular report. Let's see it, and we'll come back and round off from this particular segment.
Because she is still technically the Queen's representative, and those colours have been retired.
The colours have been retired, they've been marched off.
Do swear that... I want me to go across this.
Ladies and gentlemen, Her Excellency, the Most Honorable Dame Sandra Prunella Mason, President of Barbados.
All right, congratulations to Dame Mason and of course Rihanna and indeed all of them, the Barbadians who are now their own Republicans as it were. That's as much as we can take on Top Trend, and we'll be taking a quick break. When we return, we'll have
Naira Orphanage Support Fund has commenced. Only government-approved orphanages qualify to register via the link on your screen. Registration opens at 11:59 p.m. on Monday, the 29th of November, 2021. Registration.
The Master this week is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. Statutorily mandated to ensure that there is regulation and promotion of matters affecting our waters.
This week, the voice of maritime, showing on this channel.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on PlusTvAfrica, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408 or send an email to marketing@PlusTvAfrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
By, and he'll be joining us in no time to make sense of all of the headlines. I start off with the Daily Independent newspaper this morning. On the front page of the Daily Independent newspaper, the banner caption says, Lagos rejects panel's report on death of 9 persons. Talking about the hashtag EndSARS protests. Governor Sanwo-Olu invites youth for peace work. Senators at war over alleged lopsided army recruitment. And you also have Abiodun presents 351 billion naira 2022 budget of restoration. Federal government to punish officials over illegal recruitment, payroll, and padding. EFCC arrests Fani Kais and summons AGF million naira to him. That's the much we can take on the Daily Independent newspaper this morning.
Moving on to the Daily Trust, the main headline for this morning, no killing at Lekki Tollgate, Lagos Canters panel. Government accept 11 recommendations, campaigners reject Sanwo-Olu's overtures. All right, today actually is World AIDS Day. Nigeria's HIV response to donor funded. 257 project worth 20 billion naira duplicated in the 2020. Nigerians to apply for Forex online as CBN deploys e-form A. A local content, federal government saves 3.5 trillion naira on oil and gas project. Those are most of the stories you can find on the Daily Trust.
Away from the Daily Trust newspaper, let's quickly check out the leadership this morning. And you have health insurance. Poor services put 12 million patients at odds with hospitals. HMOs is a bold caption for the leadership. Hospital treaters with substandard drugs. That's what subscribers are quoted to say. Sounds familiar. We can't go beyond amount approved by HMOs. You also have hospitals. The Buhari vows to sanction heads of Nigerians working against electronic voting. That's what INEC is quoted to say. Barbados emerges from the United Kingdom's shadow, now in a republic. Might just be dominating some of the papers this morning. And that's the much we can take.
All right, finally, the last paper for us this morning is The Punch. The main headline, a loaded canoe boat capsizes. Above the masthead, there are some stories of interest. The petrol may sell above 314 naira per litre. Others. And the final story on The Punch this morning, mushroom growers seek inclusion in CBN program.
An agency that was set up by the government itself. Like I've always said, when the chairman of the panel used to work in the Ministry of Justice, where I think he rose to the level of solicitor, simply because the report has not been favorable. Certain people die in there. The soldier now came out that it was Sanwo-Olu that invited them. He also said they didn't go there with live bullets, that it was a rubber bullet they went in there with. Later they said they had both rubber bullets and both the real bullets, so to say. And all manners of contradiction. The bottom line, also remember that during the end-start uprising, the pathologist was asked how many bodies were brought to the hospital, whether any of the bodies in there would belong to them or could be that of their relation. So if it was not only one person that died in Lekki or during the end-start process, why would the government instead be announcing that people should visit the mortuaries in Lagos to nothing is missing? Now, to the extent that people are not coming out, will show that nobody died at the Lekki toll gate. But I will give you a graphic example. Here in Mushin, our youth either got injured, maimed, or killed that night. You will not believe it, Chief Justice. You will not believe it that what most of the relations said was that, look, we have either lost our children have been maimed, some of them have even disappeared, we don't know where they've been taken to, but we are not interested in pursuing any case with government. Citizens hardly win case against government. Furthermore, if we have lost our children, we want to be
on the papers this morning. I'd also like to share your thoughts quickly on, we're looking at the Daily Independence, but just as a follow-up to this, the governor, prior to the time he released the white paper, had called for
occurred, and the maiming and disappearance of people is for government to own up to the truth of the tragedy of what happened at the Lekki toll gate and in the other parts of Lagos during the NSAS uprising. They say it is true that built a nation. You and I saw what happened during the Okuta panel. You saw what happened during the reconciliation, the truth and reconciliation process in South Africa, and also in Rwanda and Burundi. Was it a work that was done in those places? The answer is no. In fact, when you do a work now, what you will find are all these musicians, all these comedians, and all these clowns who seize the opportunity of the uprising of the Lekki, of the police uprising or rise against the SARS to popularize themselves. They merely use it as publicity. Those who really did the work, who mobilized the children, are now dominating